everyone, I'm Clem and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing the books I read in May. I actually read a lot of books, so I'm really happy because I managed to finish 7 books and it didn't happen to me in a while. Like since the beginning of the year I read like 2 or 3 books per month, and so finally I read, but it was mainly because I went in Kenya, and so I had a lot of time to read and I listened to a lot of audiobooks because I accidentally subscribed to Scribe for a month. So I enjoyed listening to audiobooks, but yeah, let me tell you which books I read this month. So the first book I finished was The Princess Saves Herself in This One by Amanda Lovelace. So this is a collection of poems by Amanda Lovelace, and in this one, because there are 2 of those collections, like there is The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one, and the last one that came out in March is The Mermaid Voice Comes Back in this one. So in the first one there are 4 parts, so there is the princess, the damsel, the queen and you. And throughout the poems she tells a part of her life where she had to deal with a lot of loss, like she lost her mom and then she lost, I think if I remember well, a sister in a very short time. So she's talking about grief, about like the fact that she never said goodbye and the fact that her mom wasn't the best person on earth, but still losing her was really sad and really changed her. And also she talks about things that are just so common. Like one of my favorite poems is about the people who jump on the train like to kill themselves, and it was really powerful. Like I cried while like reading this poem, and I have it on my phone because it is so true what she's telling in it. Like in a way she's telling that those people who are jumping in front of trains are always like, people are always complaining about it, but she's saying that sorry to the person who jumped, because even in his last attempt to be heard, like people still don't care about him, like about what the fact that he didn't jump like to annoy people. He jumped because he was tired of his life and he couldn't do anything, and killing himself was the only way for him to be happy and to be at peace, and people don't care about that. And I thought, yeah, that's so true. Like I myself complain when I see people, like when my train is delayed because someone jumped on the train, like, but I think more about it, and I don't know, it was really amazing. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely want to read 2 other books, and I'm going to buy them because I want to be able to reread the poems whenever I want. The second book I read this month, and actually I listened to it, was Sadie by Courtney Summers. So it was the first book I read from her. Like I wanted to read This Is Not a Test or the thing, like, but when it came out, so it was a while, but I never read them. So it was the first thing I read from her, and I wanted to listen to it because a lot of people said that it was an amazing audiobook, and it is, because it's a full cast audiobook. And what's really interesting is that if you don't know the story, so basically we're following the character of Sadie. But at the beginning of the book, the little sister of Sadie was found dead in an orchard in the town, and we don't know really what's happening. And so Sadie, when she learned about that, because Sadie was the one who raised a sister, like her mom like fled when they were young, so she raised a sister, and so when she got killed she went on a quest to find her killer because she knew who it was. And so at the same time you have the perspective of Sadie, and so you have Sadie telling the story, and at the same time you have a podcast of a man who's doing a podcast on the girls, like Sadie and her sister, on the radio. So you have the radio program, so you're listening to it, and you have Sadie point of view, and the 2 like mixed together and you have the whole story, and it was really interesting. I really enjoyed it except the ending, because I expected to be way more scared and to like for it to have more tension and angst, and at some point I wanted to just have more actions. Like the few action scenes weren't really that great, and I was really disappointed by the ending because it was a thriller, but the ending was just so not bad but useless, really. Like the conclusion was not useful, and I wanted so much more for the ending. And you're here, you're finishing the book and you're like, really? Like it's like there's missing a chapter. And so this is why I didn't give it 5 stars but just 3, just because of the ending. Because like the book was great, but the end was a bit of a letdown. I listened to They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. It was my first Adam Silvera's book and I enjoyed it. It was nice, it was a good contemporary, and I really enjoy his writing style, but the story was great. I really enjoyed the concept of it, like the fact that you're going to get to receive a call the day you're supposed to die saying like you have 1 day left before dying, so enjoy. So I think it's really interesting to see, because like people might not react the same, and to see what people like could do. And also Adam Silvera really think about this, and he wrote a lot about what is available in this world for people who are going to die, and it was really enjoyable to see all the things people could do their last day. So I really enjoyed that. So if you don't know what the story is about, basically you're following both Matteo and Rufus. During the night they both received the call saying that they're going to die in 24 hours max. So at first they're doing their own life and everything, but there is this app when you can meet one-dayers. It's what the people who are going to die in 1 day are like, can meet someone who also is going to die. And so Matteo and Rufus are going to meet, and they're going to do a lot of things together, and eventually they're going to fall in love. So yeah, I didn't cry while reading the book, because you might know that I'm not a crier. Like it is really hard for me to cry in front of a book, like while reading, and if I do, it's that I'm just really sad, I'm really happy, or I'm just really into the book. But it wasn't the case here, and I admit the story is sad because the 2 characters are going to die in the end, even though they are in love. But I didn't cry because for me the love story wasn't necessary. Like they could have just been friends, you know, like you meet a guy and you're going to be friends and you're going to have an amazing last day with someone you didn't know at the beginning of the day, and is going to mean so much for you, and you can understand that they're falling in love also because it's your last day, so you're going to really bond with this person because you both know you're going to die at the end of the day. It's the title of the book. But yeah, I didn't cry, and I thought the relationship was not necessary. Like a friendship could have been great. So I gave it, I think, a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, if I remember well. And no, a 3. A 3, yeah, because the romance and the start was a bit slow for me. The next book I listened this month was Salt to the Sea by Rita Sepetys. So once again, it was my first book by Rita Sepetys. I really enjoyed it. The style of Rita Sepetys is amazing, and it's historical fiction, so it had been a long time since I read one, so it was really great. So the story, it's happening during the Second World War in Prussia, so in Russia, and between Germany and Russia and in Poland. So you're following several characters, but the main ones are Emilia, Joanna and Florian, and they both have things they have to run away from, like the Germans, the Russians, but also the army or anything. And so eventually first they are like, they don't know each other, but their path is going to cross and they're going to stay together. And they have to take these boats, the Yuslem Guslav or something like that, and because it's their only way for them to actually run away from the Germans and from the Prussian and to be safe. But things go down from here, like a catastrophe is about to happen, and it was really emotional, like, and the fact that this is a true story and that nobody ever heard about the catastrophe of the Yuslam Guslav or Yunana Guslav really broke my heart, because it's one of the deadliest catastrophe, like sea catastrophe, and nobody knew about it. And I was like, how is it possible? Like, especially in Europe, like I'm French, we study a lot like the Second World War, and I never heard about it. So I really enjoyed this book because it taught me some stuff. It was really emotional, really great. Once again, I didn't cry because I think it was just because I was listening to it, and so I was not totally into the book. Like, maybe if I had read it, I would have cried, but I'm not sure. If there is a movie, definitely going to cry, but I didn't cry this time. But I think it has potential to make me cry. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was almost a 5-star, but maybe I'm going to upgrade it to a 5 stars, but I'm not sure. Then I listened to Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McKinston. So in this book you're following Alex, and he is the first son of the President of the United States and Prince Henry, who is from the royal family of England. And so at first they hate each other, okay? Alex hates Prince Henry, and they meet again at the wedding of Henry's sister, yeah. And there is a scandal there because they fight in public, and so both the White House and the Buckingham Palace decide to fake a relationship between the two of them, saying that they are actually best friends and that what happened was just a mistake. So they have to fake being friends, so they keep going to England and keep going to the United States. But in the end, they're going to find out that actually they love each other. But this book is really about them discovering their sexuality and how to deal with it, and more specifically, how to be a gay person in those very influential and very important families in politics. Because Alex's mother, who is the president, she's doing a re-election campaign, and Alex is really afraid that if people know and learn that he's gay, his mom might not be re-elected. And for Henry, it's really about him being gay in a very traditional family, like the royal family, nobody was gay ever. And it's also their relationship, the two of them, and I really liked it. It was really refreshing, and I really enjoy reading gay love stories. I really enjoy it. I don't know why, I just found it way cuter than some heterosexual romance. I don't know why, I just love it. I don't know, it's just so cute. All political thing all around the love story was also really interesting, and also it's really, as I said, about dealing with your sexualities and being accepted for who you are, and not being afraid of who you are, because if people love you, they're going to love you no matter what. So I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I think it's that, no, a 4 out of 5 stars, yeah, but it's amazing for me. Because if you don't know my rating, 5 is for my very, very favorite book of the year, and 4 stars is the book was amazing, and I'm not sure it's one of my fave, but it's really amazing. I really loved it. After, I finally read an actual physical book, and it was The Young Elite by Mary Lou. So this is the first book in the Young Elite trilogy, and so in here we're in a world where a long time ago there was this plague. I don't remember the exact name of the plague, but there was a plague that only that actually touched everyone, but the adults were killed by the plague. But the kids, some of them died, but some of them survived, but it left on their bodies some marks, and some of them got abilities, special abilities, powers. And so we're following the main character, who is Adelina, And Adelina, at the beginning of the book, you know that she got touched by the plague, and so she has one eye missing, hair are like silver, she's really odd. And she's considered to be a malfeito, and the malfeito are those who survive the plague, and they're seen as a malediction to the family. So at the beginning of the book, her father is trying to get rid of her, like in order to put away the malediction Adelina is carrying with her. But she learns about it, and so she runs away from her house, and while running away she discovers that actually she has a special ability, and so she's going to be recruited by what is called the Young Elite, and the Young Elite is a group of people who have powers, and so she's going to be taken by them and going to be trained by them, but a lot of things are happening because a lot of people are dying actually. And it took me a long time to read this book because I was listening to a lot of audiobooks, as you have understood by listening to me. But the ending really shook me because I didn't expect it to happen. Like, someone is dying at the end, and was like, what? How can this person die? Like, he's supposed to be here in the next one. And I was like, is he dying? Like, when it was like the scene he died, I was like, he's going to breathe again, and it was just a joke. But you're like, no, this person was dead, and you're like, okay, nice. I don't know how they're going to continue on, but yeah. And what I also really enjoyed was the character of Adelina, because she changed so much through the book, and in the end she's this very badass girl, and I was like, I didn't expect that to happen, but I'm so in, so I just want to read the second book, which is The Rose Society, but I'm not going to be able to read it soon because I'm poor and I can't buy books. So it will have to wait after, I hope, the summer vacations. And yeah, but I can't wait to see where things are going to go from here. And yeah, and I gave it a 4, it was almost a 5-star. And last but not least, this month I listened to Daisy Jones and the Six by, I don't remember, Taylor Jenkins Reid. So Daisy Jones and the Six is a sort of fictional documentary about this very famous 60s rock and roll group called Daisy Jones and the Six. And so at first you have the story of Daisy alone, and the story of the Six alone, and then how they came together and their very short time together. And I really enjoyed it because it was about a time period that I loved, a theme that I love, like rock and roll and music in the 60s. Amazing. And the audiobook is a full cast, and it's so great because it's like an interview sort of book. I really enjoyed it, and the story that it tells, it's also really great because it tackles some very important issues of the time, like drugs and sex and being popular, and how you can deal with your like famous world, like where you doing music and you have a lot of girls who are following you, and your personal life. Especially the main character Billy is about that, about him like dealing with these two sides of his life, like his musical career and with this very wild and dangerous world, and this very calm family life. And this was really great. I really enjoyed it. It was like watching a movie, and I loved it. This could be an amazing movie. Oh, I want it to become a movie. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because it was a bit long like sometimes, and I was like, hey, yeah. And I would have liked for the audiobook to include way more songs, because like they're talking about amazing songs they're writing, and I was like, I want to listen to that, please. But no, there's just one at the end, and it was still great to have one song included, but I wish there were more. So yeah guys, that's it for today. It might be a bit long and I might have rambled way too much about the books and did way too many mistakes, like English mistakes, because I'm just French and I don't know how to speak English. Yeah, but still it doesn't matter. Like, I hope it doesn't matter for you. Anyway, tell me what was your favorite book you read in May. I would love to know so I can add it to my never-ending TBR. And I will see you next time. Bye guys!